What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rowdy Player One channel. We have finally got to it. Finally time to tier rank all the books I read in 2024. I'm very sorry that it's taken this long. I've been very busy. But you know, things happen and better late than never, I guess they say. I have 50 books. I thought I'd read 52 to 54, and I don't know, for some reason it's not showing up on my Goodreads, but I've tried to look at everything and it's showing 50, but who cares? It's a bunch. I'm proud of 50 books for the year. I think it may be a couple more, but anyways, I'm actually on this tier ranking. I'm going to try to go from the very first every book in the exact order that I read it in. I don't know if that is going to be possible, but I think it is. I think I've got about everything set up on how it should be. There's a couple that are out of place in the beginning, but after that, should be good to go. But categories, we have at the top tier, the S tier, the best of the best. These are my 5-star reads. I've had the full year to do it. I've had the extra month to come back and think on what I thought of the books. So they're going to be a little bit different than what I had them on at the time, but we've got the best of the best. We've got really good, not quite the best, but right there at it. We've got good books. We've got okay books, and we've got the downright bad books. Got some in all of them, and might have a few surprises in this. So why not? Let's just get started. So first thing I read is Vincent in Wonderland. This was the very first book on, I think it was January 3rd, whenever I read it, that actually got me back into reading in general. There ain't no back into reading. I never was a reader, and January of last year, January 3rd, got me back into it or got me to do it. And this was the first book, and I thought it was really good. Vincent in Wonderland's basically about what if it's a YA book as well, I think, and it's got to where Vincent van Gogh was a kid. What would happen if he was a kid and he met Alice from Alice in Wonderland before there was a Wonderland? And they go on a little adventure, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fantastic, really, but really good. After that, I went to the Goblin Emperor, and it at the time I was like, "Ooh, I don't know how good this is." And the more I think about it, it's just downright bad to me. There is nothing that goes on really. There is one action scene on this whole thing, and it's literally like a paragraph. Other than that, it's so bad. They repeat the same word like it literally like 1,000 times, or at least that's what it seems like. And it was so bad. The word was serenity and everything. Like they talked about the person, serenity. Someone answered a question, serenity. It was just over and over, and it got on my nerves. But it was downright bad now. After that, I went to Howl's Moving Castle, and it was good. I enjoyed that. It wasn't really good. Wasn't best of the best by no means, but I thought it was really good, or I thought it was good. And nice little fairy tale type adventure. I liked it quite a bit. I think there's multiple books in that series, like 3, 4, 5, something like that, or maybe more. But enough to get me started, to start getting into the genre. After that, we did something totally different, and we went to The Bodyguard, a Catherine Sinner. And I guess you would say this was a romantasy book, but it had quite a bit of action, and I thought it was really good. I enjoyed this. It's basically about where the lady is a bodyguard that goes undercover for this guy that is a famous actor, and he's got a stalker, and they're afraid that the stalker might do something to him or his family. So she goes undercover to go back home with him to pretend that she is his girlfriend. And things happen along the way. And it was a really good book. I really liked it. After that, I did Land of the Black Sun, which is a little novella by Ryan Williamson. And I think it's Doomsday Recon. That was what it was. I think that was maybe the prequel before it. But it was good for a little novella. I enjoyed it quite a bit. They get basically somehow this army group of like Marines gets pulled into this other world and have to survive. But I liked it. It was not bad. Then we go to All Systems Red, Book One in Murderbot by Martha Wells. And I thought this was, what did I think of this? I'm going to say it was good. I tried this and might as well go with Artificial Condition as well, which is book 2 in Murderbot. They were both okay. Or no, yeah, actually, yeah, I think I am going to go with okay on those. They were not great. They were not bad, but I mean, they were all right. Nothing, nothing that blew me away about it. The humor in it with the murder bot was it was all right. I guess it's more to me like dry humor, and I don't know, it wasn't super impressed. So I know a lot of people love the Murderbot Diaries, but it's just not one of the things that I really care for. Then we went to The Princess Bride, and The Princess Bride is really good. Like, I loved the movie. I've seen the movie multiple times, but then going back and reading the book, you get so much more out of the book, and they're both great. I really, really liked it. Really good. Right there on the verge of best of the best for me. It was so good. So many good characters in it. So I really liked it. Then Steelheart. This was my very first Brandon Sanderson book that I ever read. And this thing was really good. I knew everyone talked about how, Sanderson was really good, especially at his endings and everything. But the prologue to Steelheart, I mean, it blew my mind on how much I loved it. I was blown away by that prequel, and I really, really like this story. It's basically think of The Boys, except for more kid friendly, not near the amount of cussing or the crazy things that goes on in that movie or on that show. But this is basically a tamed down version of The Boys. The humans or normal people are fighting against the superheroes, which you basically become a superhero, or well, you end up getting powers kind of out of nowhere, sort of, and it like taints them in a way to where like their memory and like things get crazy with them, and so it turns them evil basically. But it was awesome. So I really, really, really good. After that, I was like, hey, let's try something else there with Sanderson. And I did The Emperor's Soul. And this was really good. I didn't realize at the time about it being part of the Cosmere. But obviously later on, I understood, yeah, it is. And it's really short. I mean, I think I audio booked this and it was like 4 hours. There's nothing. But I enjoyed it. It was a really cool premise to it. And I'm curious if he'll ever go back and do anything else in this series. I know he is on Elantris and Warbreaker, but I'm curious if Emperor's Soul will ever get a sequel to it. But it was really good. After that, we go to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this thing was just the best of the best. Holy cow. I absolutely love Dungeon Crawler Carl. It, man, for a lit RPG, I don't think it gets better than this series. And I'm so far behind on it. But I want to continue on so bad because I absolutely love this book. And it blew my mind. And since we're already here, we might as well go book two. It's getting up there as well. Best of the best. Um, Man, I don't know if I like book one or book two better because they are both so good. I'll just leave them like that. Just for my first time getting into a lit RPG, and then Jeff Hayes as the audio narrator in it and doing all the character work for them all, unreal. All the voices that he come up with. I mean, just I cannot say enough about how great this was. Then we went to the only Neil Gaiman book I've ever read and potentially may ever read. I haven't decided yet. But Norse mythology. I'm gonna say it was good. Not really good, not okay, but good. It if you like Thor and Loki and all the Asgard stuff, you learn a lot of different things about that, the mythology of it, different stories. It tells different stories from like different perspective, mainly them, but like I guess you'd say some of adventures that they go on. And I enjoyed it. It was not bad at all. I thought it was good. After that, I then decided, hey, I've read enough stuff. I think I'm ready to deep dive into the Cosmere. That's when I got paying more attention into, oh, what's that? Wind and Truth is coming out in December of this year. I really want to get to that because I know that's a huge deal for everybody. And Sanderson's probably what top three biggest authors in the world right now. So I was like, okay, let's go for it. So I started, and first thing I did was Mistborn: The Final Empire. And I think it's one of the best of the best. I really, really like this first book. Just meeting all the characters. I mean, Vin, Kelsey are, you know, I mean, the Lord Ruler, meeting Hoyd for the first time, and it was so, so good. Sazed, I really liked him as a character, and learning just really getting into Sanderson's writing is what is like his, you know, how great everything was with it. Man, I was blown away. The ending blew my mind. Like I was hooked from start to finish on this book. It was so good. After that was The Well of Ascension, and it was really good. Or was it good? That's a toughie. I'm going to say it was good. It took a step back for me because The Well of Ascension is really politically focused, and there's a lot more political stuff that goes on with that book, and which is fine, but I didn't feel like there was near as much action and stuff that goes on, and that's what I really enjoy in books. I'm a give me good characters and give me action, and if that goes on, I'll love it. And obviously, the story's great. But this one, I think like a lot of books, the second book suffers from that like middle book, especially when it's a trilogy, like the middle book syndrome, to where like the first book has to like get you engaged into the series, and then the second kind of does all the setting up stuff, and then the third is just like full bore, like everything goes, it's crazy. And Well of Ascension, it was good. I was not blown away by no means, but it was definitely good. And the ending, of course, like all the other Sanderson books, was fantastic. Then we went straight up. I went all three in the trilogy back to back to back, and Hero of Ages was really good. Um, it's really close to actually. I'm gonna move this up, and I think I need to move this up. Yeah, let me fix this. There we go. Actually, no. There we go. Um, I'm gonna say Well of Ascension is teeters on best of the best. I'm sorry, the Hero of Ages teeters on best of the best because it almost gets to the point or to the final empire. Really close. But I don't know, something almost just pulled it back just a tad. Like the ending is so good, but I don't know, something just lacked for me on it. But hey, that's all right. I mean, it's right at the top of really good. I really enjoyed it. Next I did Stormfront. And with Jim Butcher, Dresden Files, book one, and it was okay. That's where I'm going to leave it. Everyone I think told me, he's like, you need to stick with it. This is the only one that I've read because apparently I think it's book three is where it really starts going. Like the first two books was maybe more like him getting used to everything in the world and the character and all that. But like book three is where it like starts from there, and it's been great ever since. There might be a couple of dips in it, but not a ton. But it was all right. It could have been better, but not bad. I mean, I may go back and read in the second and third book to see if it actually does step up, in my opinion. After that, we go to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and this was really good. But I tell you what's not really good, and that's the movie. I thought I liked the movie whenever I first watched it years and years ago, whenever it come out. And then I read the book, and the book is really good. And then went back and watched the movie, and the movie is not good at all. It's really bad. I mean, they take out so much stuff in it that I just, holy cow, it was so lackluster to say the least. Actually, I'll move it up to here. Yellowface was next, and I thought Yellowface was really good as well. It totally different genre again. It's about Yellowface is about two authors. One of them is like think of a Sanderson type. Anything he touches turns to gold, and another one is a kind of like a struggling actor or struggling artist who has put out books as well. They're really good friends, or at least they kind of seem like it. But everything one touches turns to gold. The other one just does mild success. And something happens, and the one that just has like mild success steals the manuscript for one of the next books that the other one does, and then things happen and stuff goes on from there. But it was really good, super interesting, in my opinion. I really liked it. Let's see. After that was Warbreaker, and oh, this is a toughie. I really didn't care for Warbreaker. I'm gonna put it in okay, and that's about the best I can do with it because I didn't care for the magic system at all. Like the color system with it just did not impress me. Didn't There really wasn't much action in it neither, and that's another thing. And it's I don't know. I was not impressed, and I know that hurts a lot of people's feelings because a lot of people love Warbreaker. But maybe book two, when he gets it done, I'll go back and read through the first one again because it also could have been with how much Sanderson I was reading at the time. But I was not impressed. It was all right. Then after that, oh yeah, Red Rising, and it is without a doubt best of the best. So good. Oh man. And I read, like I said, I read this. This was my first, like, really deep dive, I guess you'd say, into science fiction. And oh my gosh, it was so good. Non-stop action. I'm actually in the process of reading book two, and it's even better. So I can't wait for like next year. It's tier ranking thing because it's going to be awesome as well. But Red Rising, I really, really enjoyed it. It for a first book and what's going to be, what, 8 books, it's amazing. So good. After that, 1984. This I did on audiobook with the one they just come out with on Audible. The what's it called whenever all the stuff happened? You hear all like background noises and all that. Um, I'm blank on it right now, but it was okay. That's about it. It was not. I was not super impressed. The book itself may be good, but I don't know. There's just something about there was too much stuff going on, and the background noises were so loud, where the explosions and all that, to where it like drowned out like what a lot of the people were saying. And it had like some like big name actors like doing it, like Andrew Garfield and someone else. Oh geez, whoever that plays Venom. I can't think of his name now, but it was all right. Then we went to Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and it was going to the top of the list of really good as well. So, so good. I love Tress of the Emerald Sea. If you like The Princess Bride, you will like Tress of the Emerald Sea. It's got the same like vibe of it. And, it's basically about a girl that um, goes on an adventure to save her what might be her boyfriendish, I guess, who's kind of like a prince. And she likes cups. And it's really good. Highly recommend reading it. So good. Then I finally was like, okay, it's time to really step it up. And we went to The Way of Kings. And The Way of Kings was really good. Was not best of the best to me. I really liked it. I thought it could be better, but it took me 500 pages, yeah, to even start to understand what the heck was going on in this book. I mean, I was so confused forever. And then it's like once you hit that 500 page mark, things click and you start figuring stuff out. And then the people, and you're learning about shards and shard bearers and shard blade and these chasm fiends and just all this stuff going on and this big overarching story in this world. And oh, it's so weird. It was like I hit page 500 and then boom, it just clicks and there you go. You're off to the races. But Way of Kings, really good. After that, we went to the Alloy of Law. And this was okay, is where I'm going to put it. Um, was not really impressed. I was after once you get through Mistborn Era 1 and you're like, man, this is so good. I can't wait for Mistborn Era 2. And then it goes into like a steampunk type style deal, and wasn't a fan of book 1 of Alloy Law. And then I think from that, yeah, I went straight into book 2, Shadows of Self. And honestly, it's just a little better than the Alloy of Law, because I guess it really wasn't clicking for me these first 2 books and that second, Mistborn Era. And I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I've still got 2 more books to go with this series. And I'm a little concerned, to be honest, because these first 2, if it wasn't for the endings, both of these to me would be in downright bad. Like the endings were so good that it kept me going in it, because if it wasn't for that, oh boy, I would. No, it was not. It would not be a good time. Then, though, we went after that. We went Lies of Loch Lamora. Took a break, and this thing is one of the best of the best. I would like to. Do I want to read book 2 and book 3 is my thing. Like, to me, Lies of Loch Lamora is a self-contained story, or you could leave it at its own book itself. I know that the author is, Scott Lynch is, I think he's working on book 4. think that's right. I think there's either going to be 4 or 5 books in the series. I'm not sure. But the other two I've not read yet. And I might wait to do those once I know when book 4 is coming out and go from there. But Lies of Locke Lamora is so good. Locke is a fantastic character, and just the story of how he gets basically adopted by this criminal group, you could basically say, and how he turns into one of the best like thieves there is. I mean, it's really, really good. Let's see. I actually did Carl's Doomsday Scenario after that, but I went ahead and listed them both, which they're both best of the best. That Dungeon Crawler Carl. Then we finally went Words of Radiance back into Stormlight Archive. Way of Kings was really good. Words of Radiance is the best book I've read ever as of this past year. We'll see how things go into the next year, 2025. But man, this book blew my mind. Like it was so good. Like it nearly made me cry. I was like pumping my fist at how happy I was at certain parts in this book. Kaladin, man, like this was, I know this is like Shallan's book, but to me it felt more like, just because of the backstories, but this was like Kaladin's book, to where he like really stepped up in my way of thinking of he's my favorite character possibly ever. And I mean, he's so good. After that, I did take a little break. I was like, whew, I need something to chill out with. And I read this little novella called The Dead Man, or A Dead Man, by Jao Silva. And this was good. Like, actually, I'm going to move it up to, let's go number 3 in the good. And let's fix this. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, that looks right. A Dead Man, really good. I mean, or good. Just it's only 20 pages, so it's not long at all. If you want to know anything about Jal Silva's writing, it's a really quick 20 pages to read and gives you a nice little quick story. I think it's The Smokesmiths is what it's called. That is his actual series. I've not had a chance to read it yet, but it is planned. I'm planning on reading it at some point, hopefully this year, at least one of the books. Definitely going to try to, of course. And looks like an awesome series, and I've heard really good things about it. The Dead Man was good. After that, we knocked out The Last Stand of the Stone Fist, which is another novella. This is the book. You can read it before Ascension, uh, but I think it technically goes after Ascension, maybe. But it's really good. Um, I really enjoyed it. It was a quick, like, might be 100 pages ish, somewhere in there. But I mean, you learning about the characters, and don't want to give any spoilers on it because I kind of feel like it's got major spoilers on what goes on into the series. But I could be wrong because I haven't read the series yet. I want to, I just hadn't had a chance. But Last Stand of the Stone Fist, very, very good. Then we go The Bands of Mourning, and we actually make it up to really good. Finally. I was so concerned after those first two and Mistborn Era 2, I was like, man, I just don't know how this is going to go. I don't think it's going to be a good part of it. And I was wrong. Mistborn Era 2, actually, they go on an adventure type thing. Things happen. You get better with the characters of Wax and Wayne. I don't know. Everything just hit really good for me on that one. And I was actually shocked. I was super nervous whenever I first started. I was like, oh, this is going to be so bad. I'm very, very concerned, and luckily was very much pleased with it. Thank goodness. Then we went Performances of a Death Metal Bard by Rob Lee. And I really like this too. I'm going to put this up here and really good. If Mandy is the name of the bard, and he basically is a heavy metal player that wants to play heavy metal music on his lute and ends up the lute can talk to him and crazy things happen with that. But I thought it was awesome. I hope he writes more books in that series because I think it could be really good. In my own opinion, I think it could be good. Then we got Edge Dancer, and Edge Dancer is to me downright bad. It's one of the worst books I've read. I am not a fan of Lift in this. She is like a 12-year-old girl that is super annoying and just holy cow, it was I don't even know how to say it. Like I just could not. She got on my nerves so bad. Like just frustratingly bad on like and I think she's one of the what might be main characters in this second part of the Stormlight Archive. And if that happens, I am very concerned because she is very annoying. And then to knock it off after that, I was like, okay, let's change it up. Elantris, his first published novel. And dadgummit, it was bad too. I didn't like it neither at all. Like Warbreaker was okay, but Elantris, to me, you could just tell like it's one of the first books that he wrote, which I know supposedly I guess Way Kings was one of the closer ones, but it was just so much bigger in scope and better. And this was just, I don't know, I couldn't do it. I finished it and I was miserable the whole time. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't like any of the magic system. Didn't like any of the setting. Nothing was good. So, you know, that happens. And I know he's writing a book too in that, and I hope it's way better, but I just did not care for it. Then we went to The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, and oh yes, really good. Like, let's move this bad boy on up a little bit more. There we go. The Blade Itself, first book in the First Law trilogy, and I loved it. Glocta, my favorite character in that book. Top, let's say top three, probably top three character of all time so far. Like, the audiobook of this is fantastic. I immersive read this, and just getting how the audiobook narrator did Glocta with his lisp that he has, and just man, it was so good. I was blown away by how good it was. Absolutely loved it. Then I went to Elegy of a Fragmented Vineyard by Caden Love, and it was good. Not bad. But it was good. I actually won this audio book on a giveaway that he did. Um, I know he's coming out. Book two I think just got finished with the Kickstarter. Um, I can't remember the name. It was something like Perseverus or something. Eels. I can't remember the first part of it. Like I think he does a good job with his titles. Like they're kind of crazy, the names of them. But I think it continues on after this. And this has got a very interesting premise. It, it's about it's political, but it also has to where, like, to get powers in this world, you have to take an organ from a infant, and to do that, it also kills the infant child. So it is very interesting and politically driven on what side of the fence do you stand on. Do you agree with this? Do you not? So it's very interesting. After that, we went to The Lost Metal, got back into the final book of Mistborn Era 2. I am going to put this in really good as well. I was blown away by how much better this series got. Let's put it right there. Yeah, that looks about right because I thought Bands of Mourning was really good, and then The Lost Metal, it hit on about everything in my opinion. Like I really enjoyed it. Um, it went so far. Like at the end of it, you really learn a whole lot about the Cosmere, which is the first book that really goes into a lot of that stuff and learning different things about it. I thought it was really, really good. Then we went to The Envoys of War by Dave Lawson. And yes, it was really good as well. Um, Learn about really cool characters in this. Really enjoyed it. Go on a adventure as well, to where it's kind of got manipulation in it, and is this person going to backstab you, or is the other person going to backstab them? And just learning about all the different characters in it, and like the backstories of kind of like, oh, this person may be, he may be going to backstab me, so I need to do something to prevent that. And then another one on a revenge quest by something that happens with his father. And just, I really liked it. I would definitely go read it. It's really good. Then we went to The Light of Casabon, and I was expecting this. I guess I didn't. How could I say this? It was good. Um, Grimdark. The first chapter is like brutally grimdark on what happens to some of the characters in it. After that, it tapers off. It's not near as bad. But after I read that first chapter, I was like, I don't know if I can continue reading this because it is super dark. But it did not continue like that. Thank goodness. I was very much pleased because I was concerned. Then we went back to Oathbringer, and Oathbringer is one of my favorite books I've read, and it's going to move on up. Ooh, let's go right there in best of the best. I've loved Oathbringer. Um, it it's right there with Words of Radiance to me. I know Oathbringer is Dalinar's story, and I just I just really felt for him in that. Like the things that happened to him when he was younger, what he did and then what happened, you know, things with his wife, his kids, and what he did whenever he was, just the baddest of the bad, the Blackthorn. I mean, just it was something else. And almost right there with Words of Radiance, but just a little less, but still one of the best. Then we went to Lost Souls, and Lost Souls was really good as well. I'm going to put this right about there. Um, Really good science fiction book. Main character Max, really, really liked him. That ending blew my mind. We'll say that. Like, um, oh man, like that ending got me. Like I was not expecting what happened. It was like out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, what is this? So book two doesn't like much, and it'll be coming out in 2025. And I'm hoping to get to read it as well. Like I really like Dark Souls, Lost Souls, and book two. I think I'm expecting great things from it, and just so good. After that, we got Dawn Shard. It's not downright bad. It was all right. We'll say it was okay. Um, yeah, we'll go with okay. I think that's pretty good. Risen, main character in this one, she is got a disability, and I really thought, the way that Sanderson talked about the order of kind of how to read a lot of this stuff, that she would be in the books more from where he read this, but she really wasn't. I mean, like at all. Like I thought, like she would take like kind of like Lift. How Lift is really ramped up being in the books. Risen is not, and I don't know why. Like it's kind of weird. I actually like her as a character. Like she's very interesting, and for some reason, maybe she's going to be one of the main ones in the second part of Stormlight Archive. But let's say she was not in this one. The Hunter next. Very, very good. Actually, oh, do I want to put this in best of the best? Hmm. No, I'm gonna save it. I gotta save it. I'm gonna go right around here. Really, really good. I enjoyed The Hunter. It's my first like animal companion book, and loved the animal companion in this. Love the characters. You know, you've got your main character who is a really quiet, reserved assassin, and he ends up taking a girl that's trying to get back home, and the dire wolf that he has is, kind of like his brother, and does like facial expressions and knows like what's going on and stuff. It was so good. It's a heck of a story, and looking forward if Kay Aggard, Kylie ends up making book two, or writing book two. I hope it's really good because I loved book one. It was fantastic. Wild Skies, got that in an E arc, and I'm gonna say it was good. Really enjoyed it. It's a like Dragon Rider um, Western. Really interesting type of deal with that. I thought it was good. Um, like the story to it. It's got a basically dragons take the place of like horses and stuff like that in it. So like instead of riding horses and like you ride dragons, but like not only that, like they've got different names for animals and stuff in it. And pretty cool adventure that he goes on, and thought it was really good. Dark Bloom. Oh boy. This sucker goes up here. Second place in best of the best. This one right here is the closest I went to tears. Just, oh boy, it got me. It is a horror novel about zombies that, like, the kid zombies laugh, but that wasn't the most terrifying part. The terrifying part to me was Kate's the main character, I would say. But she has another companion that she meets along the way. But Kate, her backstory is worse than actually dealing with the zombies, I think. I mean, it tore me up, and man, I read this thing in like 3 days, and it's like can't remember how many pages, 300-page book, I think. And I do really good at reading 50-ish pages a day. If I can do, I don't even get to do that every time, but I rolled through this book. It was incredible. Um, I'm so stoked to read book two whenever it comes out because I think it's going to be amazing. After that, we went back and went to Secret Project number three, I guess you'd say. And we went to the Sunlit Man, and it's okay. It's better than that, and that, and that. Probably that. Yeah, it's the top of okay, almost to good. Um, I personally think, which I understand why he put it where he put it. Actually, no, I don't. This should be, actually, yes, I take that back. I do. He put it here before, like you read Sunlit Man before you go into Rhythm of War. And right now, I would redo that and put it after you read Wind and Truth, because the things that they talk about here in this book, you learn more of a backstory on it in Wind and Truth. But anyways, Sunlit Man, the main character in this, Nomad, is actually part of Bridge 4. I will not tell you which one it is, but when you read Wind and Truth, you will know which one it is. Or well, I say you will. There's kind of things about it, but you'll understand. But it was okay. After that, we went to Rhythm of War. Very bottom of good. That's about all I can say. I got really let down on that one. I thought it should have been better. It's got to the point to where Sanderson is a little too long-winded on a lot of stuff and spent way too much time on one certain thing that really got on my nerves. And it is what it is. Spent way too much time in a different realm and not enough time focused, I felt like, on the characters. And then Shalon in this book is just crazy with multiple personalities, and I can't stand that. Got on my nerves a great deal, but I'll leave it at that. At that time, I finally had been caught up. I mean, and boom, went straight from that into Wind and Truth. And where do I want to put Wind and Truth? I'm going to put it at the top of good, because it's not really good in my opinion. The more I keep thinking about it, the more frustrated I get with the book. I thought it was good. Should have been really good, but I don't know. I'm so frustrated on a lot of parts that he did in this. This book is way too long. You could have cut 300 pages out of it easily, and it'd have been so much better. The way that he just went about what happened with the characters, which I guess that's my own opinion on it, on the way some characters ended their arcs and stuff and what happened. I don't know. I didn't really care neither for the 10-day cycle. It's a 10-day book and starts from day 10 down to day 1 when things happen. And it just frustrated me to all ends on a lot of it. There's things on it in this book that shouldn't have happened, or I say shouldn't have happened, shouldn't. It's like he just added them to added them in, and I was not a fan. Anyways, next up, Sledge. Oh yeah, baby, Sledge. So good. Best of the best in that category, without a doubt. Absolutely love this book. Nick did a great job on Sledge. Like, the way that he wrote a lot of it was like guns, flashlights, stuff like that, little things. If you know what they are, like a certain type of gun, that's all he says. Okay, this person, whatever, had a, silenced P22, P223, and then leaves it at that. If you know what that gun is, then you know exactly what that person's holding. Same thing with the flashlight. So good. And then Sledge is a dang tank, almost unkillable. Like, there's so many crazy scenarios in this to where you think he's dead, that I'm like, how do you even come up with the ways to get Sledge out of this situation? But this is a 5-star read. If there is one, you need to go. If you have not read Sledge, you are doing a disservice to yourself, because it's so good. And book 2, oh, I can't wait for it to come out. It is going to be incredible. I know it. And then the final book that I read in 2024 was Fogbound by Nick. And Nick, where do I want to put this? I'm going to put it in really good, because I really like this book. It's definitely interesting on dealing with, like, this main character deals with, like, when something crazy starts to happen or whatever, there's like fog comes up in his like vision, and then he like gets taken over. and turns into an amazing fighter. The swordsman, and but yeah, I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil nothing. But it was very interesting. Thought it was really good. Um, but yeah, so this is my tier ranking of everything that I read in the year of 2024. Um, you can tell I had mainly a really good reading year. Really enjoyed it. How have I gotten? The best 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10. That's pretty good. 10 basically 5-star reads. Not bad. I would definitely take that. Hopefully this year, 2025, is just as good. Let me know. That's all I've got. Did y'all have a good reading year last year? I know we're at the very beginning of February when this is coming out. I'm sorry it took so long. But, you know, hopefully this coming up year is going to be even better, and I will definitely get it out sooner next year. But I appreciate y'all. If you would leave a like on the video, it really helps out the channel. Leave me a comment. You know, what was your best read of 2024? You know, here's my list. Maybe you've got a good list. And subscribe to the channel. Other than that, y'all have a good day. Bye.